You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Sponsored in part by MB Subculture Comics and Costumes. Now your hosts, Cody Pinnick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, it's time for another episode of Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that's still waiting for its unnecessary prequel film. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
I'm Josh.
We have a great show for you this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a bunch of news, including a bunch of Super Bowl commercials that we're going to describe to you because that's great over an audio medium, describing a visual medium. But first, let's talk about some things we've been checking out.
Hey, I feel like that's our specialty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're very good at describing things that our listeners can't see. Very good at it.
Like my 9-pack abs.
Of course.
Your 9-pack. I have an uneven number of abs.
Yeah, I got that extra ab right in the middle.
Right in the center. That's it. Yeah.
I have a 6-pack, but it's a 4, and then there's one ab on the top and one ab on the bottom.
God. Oh, no. Okay.
They're like domino pips.
Yeah, I have a 5-pack, but they're all separate singulars in like a dice pattern.
Mm-hmm. Mine's a 20-sided pack. I crit failed on that one. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into these things we've been checking out. Does someone have something they've been checking out?
Oh, we forgot we were going to roll for initiative on these.
Oh, we'll do that next week.
Oh,
It'll be all
darn.
right.
Yeah.
We can only have one D&D reference per show. It's already been made.
I don't think I really have a whole lot for this week. I started watching the second season of The Good Place.
Okay, cool.
Which continues to be excellent, and like they just go buck wild with it after what happened at the end of season 1, which I don't want to say because it's a big spoiler if you haven't watched the first season.
And the show's good enough to not want to spoil it.
Yeah.
If the show wasn't great, we could probably spoil things, but yeah, I mean, go watch it.
Yeah, it's one of the best shows in a long time. Comedy, hilarious, great. Go watch it. Did I talk about Celeste last week?
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Let's talk about Celeste for a bit.
It's a game for the Switch and also Steam. It's a platformer.
I heard it's good.
It is very, very good.
I heard it's an 8 out of 10.
Well, according to Polygon, yes, it's an 8 out of 10. Even though their review list
was glowing.
No flaws whatsoever.
Yeah, no flaws, 8 out of 10. Figure that out. Anyway,
it's kind of like one of those Maso-core platformers that's really hard and requires a lot of precision, like a Super Meat Boy or...
Right, yeah.
Except it's not a jerk about it.
Okay, that's good.
Like, it has a whole different feel to it that makes it less aggravating. Mm-hmm. It's just because it's just nicer about it.
Okay.
Like one of the pop-ups said, "Be proud of your death count." That just shows how much you've learned. Well, that's refreshingly positive.
Yeah, that is pretty good. That's pretty nice.
The dash mechanic is really cool. You could at any time, once in the air, you can do an air dash that moves you in whatever direction you push a certain specific amount of space.
Okay.
So you kind of have to get programmed in your head how far your dash is going to take you.
Gotcha.
So you can make those precision jumps and do those wall kicks, and you can climb walls for a specific amount of time.
All right, cool.
And the design is just top notch, and it's cool knowing like having a game like this that's almost like a platformer but also kind of a puzzle. Like, how do I use my tool set that I have to get through here?
Right, yeah. I've seen trailers and pictures of the game, and it looks beautiful. It looks
really, the sprite
really
art
nice.
is really, really good. Mm-hmm. I saw a review complain that there's like no upgrades. Like, you don't get new moves or items.
Do you need it?
No, it's not really what the game is about.
Yeah.
It's refreshing knowing any room you go into, you already have everything you need to solve.
You just need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And I think the game introduces enough new mechanics in every level that it never gets stale.
Okay.
Like, you might not be getting like an upgrade or whatever, but still this level has these bubbles that do a different thing.
Your upgrades are the skill set that you continuously learn instead of just getting an arbitrary thing that all of a sudden you can do an extra thing.
Yeah.
You're teaching yourself how to do the moves, and that's your upgrade, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your increasing skill.
Yeah. See, that's cool. I like that. That's very cool.
It's a great game. It's definitely worth, I think, like the $20 they're asking on the Switch.
Oh, 20 bucks. Yeah, $20. That's like nothing. That's good.
The Switch continues to be a great home for indie games.
Yeah.
It really has become that, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I found a great secret too that I went into a room
Mm-hmm.
that had those weird like colored blocks from Mario 3.
Yeah.
It had a white one of those,
Mm-hmm.
and you stand on it and hold down duck, and you drop behind the foreground just like you do in Mario 3.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, is it gonna do what I think it's gonna do? And it does, and that's how you get one of the hidden items.
That's excellent. That's very cool.
That's a nice reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite Switch games I've played since Odyssey came out.
Excellent. All right.
Aside from, of course, Sonic Forces.
Of course, yeah. Game of the year.
I did finish
Contender.
that.
Have you gotten S rank on everything?
No.
Have you 100%ed it?
No.
Are you the completionist
No.
of Sonic Forces?
No. I might go back and try to S rank some of them though. You unlock new outfit pieces every time you
Yeah,
S rank.
it's constant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a bad but good game at the same time. I mean, I don't really want to get into it again, but
Yeah.
like, it's such a junk food game.
Okay. Yep.
You're saying it's your guilty pleasure?
I guess.
I mean, mine's ice cream, but yours is apparently really bad Sonic games.
I wouldn't say it's really bad. It's just kind of bad. Like, it's still playable. The controls are a little floaty, but it's still a playable video game.
See, that's a poll quote for the box. Nerd Overload says it's playable.
It's a playable video game. When you put it in your Switch, a game-like experience will occur.
Have you done any of the Shadow DLC
No.
levels? See, there you go. That's something to go
Yeah,
back to
well, I gotta
because
buy it.
everybody's favorite Hedgehog, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Cold Steel, the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it costs. I haven't looked into it.
Who knows?
I'd have a hard time paying
Too
more
much.
than $5. Unless it adds like
Yeah.
another 30 levels.
Right. Yeah. You get to make your super edgy OC character.
Yeah, you get a whole set of Shadow the Hedgehog inspired clothing options. The netted shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a Phase Mom DLC.
Yeah. Spiky wristband, netted shirt, eyeliner,
Jinko's
Hot
Yeah.
Topic name badge.
gun.
gun.
I mean, if they gave, Sonic a sword for that one.
Oh, for the Black Knight
Yeah.
game? That game was rotten.
I didn't hate it.
You're secretly a Sonic mark, then, is what you're saying.
Apparently.
I mean, I'm a sucker for retro Sonic.
Well,
You wouldn't be
Everyone
in
kinda
Sonic
is.
Forces because the retro Sonic levels are terrible.
I know, you told me.
Of course, I never bought Sonic in the Black Knight, so I didn't.
didn't feel that
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure had I paid money for it, then I would have felt pretty burnt on that.
Probably. Yeah, that would probably be it. Well, I could talk about my check it outs real quick. I saw a handful of movies this week, all by one production company. This takes a little bit of explaining. You guys in the room are familiar with Red Letter Media.
Unfortunately.
You're talking about guilty pleasures. I kind of like some of the stuff they do. Their YouTube channel and primarily a movie review channel. They got a lot of notoriety back in 2007 for their like 70-minute dissertation on Star Wars: The Phantom Menace by their fictional character Mr. Plinkett. He had this real weird voice and this fake like 90-year-old man like mispronounced words but had a like encyclopedic knowledge of film. That was actually a really in-depth and interesting dissection of
They
Phantom
did
Menace.
one really good thing once, and they've been leaning on it ever since.
Kinda, yeah. They have a handful of different shows. They're one show half in the bag. I don't agree with a lot of what they say, but I think that's more of them catering their reviews towards what their perceived audience is. They kind of are a little extra hard on certain movies, especially the newest Ghostbuster reboot, because I think they know that they anticipated their fans to be super hard and not great about it. But they have had some stuff.
When I saw that was their big review they were gonna do for the year was the Ghostbusters, it's like, really, you're gonna go for that low hanging fruit?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and that's and again, I don't agree with a lot of what they say. They do have another show called Best of the Worst where they review B movies, and they're usually pretty on point with that. Those are pretty enjoyable. But no, I watched the couple of feature films that their production company has put out because they are also filmmakers. They specialize in films that celebrate low budget and no budget like effects and just kind of cheap storylines and things like that. I started this out by watching their most recent film called Space Cop, which is essentially a cop from the future gets trapped in the present, and also a cop from the past gets cryogenically unfrozen, and they have to solve crimes in the present. It's funny, with the exception of the past cop, which is probably the worst actor I've seen. Unfortunately, he is also the director and writer and like the main guy behind Red Letter Media, Mike Stoklasa. He is the worst part of that movie. And that's actually a running theme with all of their movies. He is consistently the worst part of any of their movies because he is not an actor. He can write pretty well, and he knows how to write for the normal stable of actors that he works with. There's a handful of them that he usually uses in all of his films. Rich Evans, the guy who played Space Cop, especially, is in like all of his movies in various parts.
He's his Jason Mewes.
Pretty much. It's his Jason Mewes. And he knows how to write for him. He knows how to write for the other guy that he does the reviews with on Half in the Bag, Jay Bauman, and like the other stable of actors that he has. But he just cannot deliver lines himself. It just doesn't work. But
he just always seems like he doesn't care.
And I think he thinks that's funny. And in certain scenarios, it kind of hits a little. It's very hit and miss, but it's more miss than hit for sure. So I watched that, and then I kind of went, I'm going to keep. They have a couple other movies. Let me see if I can dig some of these up. So I went back a few years prior to I think it was 2011 was their release of Feeding Frenzy, which was a kind of an homage and send up of old 80s like tiny puppet monster movies like Gremlins, like The Ghoulies, like Troll 2, where there's like little. Basically, if there's a little puppet that's running around, you menacing things.
You remember
Critters? Yeah, Alf. There we go. Yeah,
Alf.
Yeah, no, these things had I think they were called the Boglins or something like that, and they're basically these little orbs with teeth that
like
were kept,
critters.
Yeah, that were kept in a crate in the basement of a hardware store, and they get loose and menace the employees. And again, Mike was the worst part of the movie. Luckily, he wasn't a star of the movie. He was a fairly minor character, so it kind of worked a little better. I watched that and went, okay, there is one other movie they've done. And this one took me a little time to find, but I was able to find it. In 2003, they did a movie called Gorilla Interrupted. This was the first feature-length film that they had collaborated on.
From the title alone, you can tell it's going to be bad.
It was an hour and 8 minutes long, not a full-length film.
A merciful hour and 8 minutes.
Yeah. There were certain elements, there were certain scenes where everything clicked, but it was like shot on a camcorder, and it looked very bad, and the acting was poor at best, and it just kind of seemed to kind of meander from scene to scene. It had this vague plot of one character turned into a gorilla, and at the same time another character created a laser pack, and the Mike Stoklasa guy, he played a Sid Vicious wannabe who had all the best lines and was the coolest character that wasn't the butt of any joke. He's the only character that wasn't the butt of a joke at any given point in the film. And I'm using film with air quotes, although you can't see it. So it was rotten, but it was packaged in with it was released in 2013, even though the movie was done in 2003.
They just sat on it that long?
They sat on it that long because it was so rotten.
Yeah.
But it was released and packaged with a 40-minute documentary on making the film called, and kind of a retrospective, called How Not to Make a Movie. And I tell you, watching the documentary along with the film is like eye-opening. And like it makes me want to make a movie. Like they talk about, what was going on prior to, the making of the film, where they were all kind of doing their own separate independent like shorts, and they all met on a basically a message board in like early 2000s for like no budget short film directors basically. And they had this idea to film a movie in 1 week. So all the different people that were in the film flew into Wisconsin for 7 days. They only had 7 days to shoot. And the script was written the night before everyone showed up. So there was really no script, like you do. And they had a house that was in the process of being renovated that they could just go through and destroy all of the furniture inside it because they were getting rid of it anyway. So that's why in the movie, the one character, the guy who's dressed up like a gorilla, is like falling through things and like banging against walls and like punching things and falling down and breaking things because they just had stuff to destroy. They ran into a lot of problems with filming. For example, they were all living together for the week and they all got violently ill. Yeah, they claim one guy said that there was an actor who was vomiting in the sink during filming at one point. He said, "Oh, I mean, I had a bathroom. He could have gone in there. He chose the sink. That's where my dishes were, but okay." So they had that, and then the script kept getting bogged down more and more. There was one of the actors, the one that flew in from California, the one that came the furthest, was constantly trying to rewrite his character and undermine the director and cinematographer. No one was happy. Everyone was angry and depressed, and just nothing was right. But every once in a while, it all kind of clicked in a couple of the scenes. And it also talked a little bit about, after the film, they watched it and pretty much put it away and said, I don't want anything seen this again.
No one needs to see this.
No one needs to see this. But they went back and remastered some of the special effects using what they knew about filmmaking to like fake like super low budget. Like before they had like these spaceship like 3D like really cheap clip art models. They went back and made like little spaceship models and stuck it to the end of a electric screwdriver and videotaped it on a green screen to mock the look of like if they had more time and a little bit more know-how, they could have done this conceivably in 2003. And again, watching that documentary along with their first film is really fascinating. It's like one step down from Clerks. It's like if Kevin Smith had like a little bit less talent.
There's a joke in there.
There's a joke in there somewhere. But no, it was really interesting and really fascinating to watch. I love no budget film. I love, being able to look at things in a film that I can go, I could probably do that. I could probably make that. And I love just seeing the process of, let's put on a show kind of mentality. Because, I've always kind of thought, it'd be kind of neat to make a movie, even if it's rotten and no good and like,
yeah, I mean,
looks
I've
very
always
bad.
thought that too.
It's always been like, I'm sure rattling around my brain, there's like a halfway decent script that could be done serviceably, and I would be okay with doing one and being done.
So hold on to your seats, because coming soon to theaters, Nerd Overload the movie.
Nerd Overload the movie. That's it. Yeah, it's going to be rotten. I'll be in a gorilla suit, and I'll be breaking stuff. And also some,
I
some
do
other
own a gorilla
stuff.
costume.
I did at one point, and it was stolen out of my sister's car at Bowling Green.
Why would you steal? Oh, no.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool to have a gorilla costume.
It is a pretty cool thing to own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about like no budget, low budget movies?
Mm-hmm.
There was this group. I think there's still a group, but called The Dead Gentlemen.
Okay.
Is their production company. And they did some movies in college.
Mm-hmm.
Their most notable ones are The Gamers and The Gamers Darkness Rising.
Okay.
Where they play D&D, and then like they shoot themselves as their D&D characters doing stuff.
See, that's kind of cool.
But they also had these ones where I think the first one's called Dead Camper Lake, where yeah,
The very
I wonder what
on
happened. Yeah,
Very on the nose title.
yeah, except it's not like they're not like camp counselor. Like the one guy is like a part of a group of like paranormal investigators kind of. They're weird, but they're like super low budget, super like badly.
Yeah, well, you know what? At that point, quality is not the most important thing. It's just filming something to say that you filmed it. and being able to edit it just to say, I made this. This is a thing. I started and completed a project, and it has some semblance to what I would like. That's why I like trauma movies so much.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, the Toxic Avenger movie had like almost no. I mean, it was comparable, especially to Feeding Frenzy. Like the effects in that were very comparable to like the classic Toxic Avenger or classic. I guess like the monster scenes and Romeo and Juliet, that sort of stuff.
Cannibal.
Yeah. Yeah, see, again, Cannibal. That was just a bunch of idiots walking around the woods in period clothes, and then, a little bit of gore effect every once in a while.
And some really well done songs.
Well, you see, that's the thing. That's the thing with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. The dialogue and the writing and the music was top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really kind of what you need. I mean, the look, you can get away with things being charmingly bad as long as you have a good script and a good dialogue and a kind of a good hook to it. It's when you have a lacking script is when the problems really it really kind of magnifies how cheaply made,
or actors that can't perform the script.
Yeah, that's that too. Well, Josh, do you have anything?
Not really. I went back and I rewatched the first season of Rick and Morty again.
As you do.
Well, something
The
I
good
noticed.
season.
The thing I noticed is like in the earliest episodes, like Rick's voice almost has like this Brooklyn-y accent to it, like the certain way he says things.
In those sort of early episodes, they didn't quite have, and
Yeah.
this is how it is with every show out there. You're gonna have a little bit of finding the characters.
Oh yeah, it gets phased out to the Rick voice that everyone knows, but it's just something that kind of clicked in my brain. It's like, oh, okay.
All the dialogue, I think, is about 100 times funnier in the earlier episodes because it all sounds so improvised.
It sounds
Oh, yeah.
incredibly improvised, and for all we know, it could have been fairly improvised.
But I think that's so much funnier than...
Yeah. And that comes with the less improvised the show feels, the more like an actual overarching plot line the show was given. Like that second season, they gave it too much of a plot line, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The robots, Morty. The robots. It was a metaphor, Morty.
It's
I
a
don't
metaphor.
respect
I
them.
don't respect them.
God.
Okay.
Let's see here. I rewatched. Actually, I went through and I watched all the Lego movies like back to back.
Nice. It's good. It's good use of your time.
Yeah, I mean, why not? They're good movies.
Those live action bits in the Lego Batman still are a little jarring to me. The scenes with Tobey Maguire, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those are a little
right.
jarring.
Yeah, I forgot. I was trying to think. I was like, there are no live action.
Yeah, it took
parts
me a
in
minute to remember. But yeah, he watches romantic comedies.
Yeah.
They I wish they would have done a Lego
Version.
shot for shot
Yeah, that would have been
recreation
hilarious.
of that. That would have been really funny.
Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you talking about Will Ferrell?
No, that was actually that was clever and well done. That was a nice twist in the
Yeah.
first
you had,
Lego movie.
Yeah, the first time you didn't know what you were getting into, and like they hit you with that part, and you're like, oh.
This children's movie is very meta.
Yeah.
The Ninjago movie gets pretty meta too.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, the whole opening of the movie is live action.
Huh.
Oh right, yeah. You mentioned that
Yeah.
when you talked about the
yeah.
last time with
Yeah.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you crossing your fingers? I can't. I just have these things, these cup holder things. Oh man, that was a good time. Other than that, I've been playing like this stupid mobile game, and I can't stop playing it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Rodeo Stampede,
Okay.
and it's done in that overly done like Crossy Road style, like
voxely.
yeah. But the whole point of the game is you are filling your sky zoo. For some reason, you have an airship that is a
Sky
flying
zoo.
zoo with animals.
Okay.
And as you're in the gameplay, is you jump from animal to animal in this stampede, and when you find a new one, you can ride it a little longer and then tame it, and it goes into your zoo.
Okay.
And like you get bonus XP for
Finding rare animals.
and
Okay.
like at first I thought it was gonna be like just actual like there's some weird stuff.
Sounds kind of neat though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun for some reason. I just can't stop playing it. Like to the point where my phone gets hot.
Well, then it's doing its job. I mean, that sounds like a phone game.
I
Yeah.
can't stop playing Puzzle Fighter. The
Oh, yeah.
iOS
Oh,
port
the-
of Puzzle of it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it plays like Puzzle Fighter, and it's has online multiplayer that matches up real fast.
That's
so.
cool. Yeah, and you got Mike Hagar the other day, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, that
that's
was
cool.
the first character card draw I did. Got me Mike Hagar, and I love Final Fight, so I was stoked about that.
That's excellent.
It has some deep Capcom cuts too.
Really?
Their Mega Man X is unlockable. Phoenix Wright.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe. No one cares about Beautiful Joe anymore.
Yeah.
Although I take that back, Street Fighter V right now has a challenge mode where if you do 4 different challenges within the next month, you get a Beautiful Joe costume for Rashid
Nice.
in Street Fighter V, and that's pretty cool. I missed out on the second week, so I'm not going to get it. But yeah,
Man, I should go back and play those games.
yeah, the Beautiful Joe games.
I don't think I ever played the second one.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
the first one, but I don't think I ever played the second one. Is that rare? Is that a rare game? I bet it's rare.
It's kind of rare. You don't see it.
It was a GameCube title.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, well, you don't see. It's one of those games where people get it and hang on to it because
It was
it's
so
good
weird.
and
Yeah.
weird. All right, well, hey, let's go ahead and take a break here, and when we get back, we'll get into a little bit of news. Nerd Overload is sponsored in part by MB Subculture Comics and Costumes. MB Subculture is the one-stop shop for all your geeky needs, from comics and collectibles to unique custom costumes, masks, makeup, and more. MB Subculture is located at 122 West Rensselaer Street in downtown Bucyrus, 567-806-5364, and online at subcultureoh.com. Hey, we're back. That was Once in a Lifetime by the Talking Heads, a totally normal version of that totally didn't feature Kermit the Frog. Completely, totally normal, just the stock standard version of that song.
David Byrne, not Kermit the Frog.
Not Kermit the Frog.
A classic.
Did someone say Kermit the Frog?
No.
Because it wasn't Kermit the Frog.
No,
Why are we
no.
talking about Kermit the Frog?
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Good old Muppets Tonight. But man, that show was short-lived.
It was short-lived, but
Unfortunately
very
short-lived,
good.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoyed that.
Same with the ABC Muppets show that I will never not be mad that they canceled.
I know. They needed to give that show a little bit more of a chance,
Yeah.
I think.
It just started getting really good
Yeah.
because they got a new showrunner.
They were turning it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. All right, so hey, let's go ahead and get into some news for the second half of the show, as you do, or as we do, I guess. So the Super Bowl was this past weekend.
Really? I heard there was supposed to be an important episode of Sports Ball.
yes, there was a gigantic sports ball event.
Hey, actually, it would turn out to be a pretty good game.
It looked like it.
And you know what? The Patriots lost, so I'm happy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I'll watch a rare Browns game every now and again. I am in theory a Browns fan, which means that my team will never go to the Super Bowl ever in a million years. In fact, they had a perfect losing season. They did not win a single game last year. And the city of Cleveland celebrated by throwing a parade.
Jeez. Oh, way to celebrate mediocrity.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It's not mediocrity.
No, that's yeah.
That's
It's an achievement to lose every game in the season.
Here's the thing I don't understand.
Okay.
City of Philadelphia. Your team won.
Yeah.
Why trash it?
because it's Philadelphia.
You know what?
Columbus has
listen.
done it too. Columbus has done it too.
Listen, you get
Oh, yeah.
excited. Your team wins. You're feeling good. You light a couch on fire. It happens.
You climb to the top of a light post and bust out the light on top, you know?
Yeah,
You
it
eat
happens.
some horse poo.
What?
What?
A dude ate horse poo.
He was that
Just excited.
just that
Or
amped
drunk.
up. Or
Well, yeah, probably. Anyway, the game itself was really good, but there was, more importantly,
the Patriots seem like they're like the 80s movie villain at this point.
they kind of were.
Yeah.
A little bit. But
They have enough rings.
anyway, what I'm getting to is more importantly than the game, there were commercials. There were plenty of commercials.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Justin Timberlake.
You know what? Everyone is dogging on Justin Timberlake. I thought he did an okay job during the halftime show. It was nothing special.
I didn't watch it. I really have no...
The only thing that was a little weird was he did
His
have a
shirt?
projection of Prince that he sang with during one of the songs.
Yeah, that's
That is a little
Not
weird, but
not
then
cool.
again, they performed in Wisconsin,
yeah.
and it was a tribute. It was supposed to be a tribute to Prince, and during the duet with the hologram Hollow Prince, they actually panned back to a wide shot of the stadium from afar, and all the buildings around the stadium, certain buildings lit up in purple to make the Prince symbol
Oh, that's cool.
out of the building's lights. And that was really cool. I understand that there were a lot of people upset that saying that if Prince wanted to duet with Justin Timberlake, he would have before he died.
Well,
but
that and Prince has said before he specifically didn't want them to do the hologram thing with him.
It wasn't really a hologram per se.
It wasn't like the Tupac thing.
It wasn't the Tupac thing. They didn't do anything to where they made him say something different.
He hasn't already. Yeah,
it was a projection of a previous
performance
that they put up behind Justin Timberlake as he sang with Prince during the show. It was a little gross, but not so bad as
not as tasteless as you would think.
Not as tasteless as a lot of people online are making it. But Timberlake, he did a okay job.
It's like he had that weird like deer shirt.
Yeah.
thing.
The memes where they have Bob Ross painting his shirt cracks me up.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of like hunter stuff. Well, that's his new album though. It's like about being a man of the wilderness kind of.
I wouldn't know.
Somebody,
thing.
I forget who said it on Twitter. Someone's like, I don't know how you appropriate white culture, but that's what it looks like he's doing with that shirt.
He kind of did. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, let's get to some of these commercials and trailers.
Yeah, commercials.
Yeah, so the commercials, there were a lot of kind of weird ones this time around. I'm counting commercials separate as trailers. We could talk about trailers one at a time. The commercials, some of the highlights for me watching it. And I sat and watched the whole game. There was a weird Doritos and Mountain Dew commercial with Peter Dinklage and
Morgan Freeman.
I can never remember Peter Dinklage's name.
It's so easy to remember, though.
It's like Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm not going to say why I have an easy... You got it?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Oh.
You got it. Okay. But that was a pretty weird one. There was Tide just knocked it out of the park with
Those
their
are pretty
commercials.
funny. David Harbour is great.
He's pretty
hilarious
funny. He's a good guy. Yeah. It's a Tide ad.
Like, did you see those tweets that where somebody's like, I want, if I get so many likes, will you be in my high school photo, David Harbour? And he's like, yeah, but I want to wear the school sweatshirt and I want a trombone.
Yeah.
And it happened. And he did it.
There are a bunch of pictures of the guy with it was like a high school senior girl or something like that. And it's great.
And he's got the sweatshirt and the trombone.
Yeah. But no, those were good. There was we sat here and watched just about every
a whole
one
bunch
of
of
them.
them.
It just kind of shows how quickly in and out of the mind they were good,
Let's see here.
but not super memorable this year.
There was the weird MMM one with Danny DeVito.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty
I kind of
weird.
like that.
Yeah.
But I like Danny DeVito.
I did too. Yeah.
And I like him better than that awful Eminem.
Oh yeah.
I would rather he be the mascot for M&Ms than the stupid animated M&Ms that aren't funny and weird.
But we need to give Fry from Futurama a paycheck.
Like Billy West
It's
doesn't
Billy West.
get enough work.
Yeah. What has he done lately?
That's true.
He still does voice work.
Yeah, he's always background characters all the time.
That's true. That's a good point. But no, that was a good commercial.
Only the same 5 voice actors ever get work in cartoons.
Yeah. Well, 6. John DiMaggio's getting a lot of work now.
Yeah.
John DiMaggio has always had a lot of work.
It's like John DiMaggio, Billy West, Tara Strong, Robert Paulson,
Mark Hamill.
It's like as long as there's a Cartoon Network, those people will have jobs.
Maurice LaMarche
Yeah.
gets a ton of work.
Phil
Lamar. Yeah.
Cree Summer
She still gets work.
still, yeah.
She still gets work.
Tress McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
This is just turning into naming cartoon voice actors.
Specifically naming cartoon voice actors that worked on Animaniacs.
Yeah. We did get all 3 of the Animaniacs.
We did. And both Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah. Did we ever talk about the Hulu?
I don't think we did.
Deal?
I don't think we did.
Hey, news. Hulu is doing a new season of Animaniacs. With
I am
Steven
cautiously
Spielberg
optimistic about it.
Yeah. I think it depends a lot if they get the same writers back.
Mm-hmm.
Have they said they got the same voices?
They would have to. There's no way they'd be able to do the show. The thing is, I'm worried about I'm worried about it just because that show was such a kind of lightning in a bottle. You had writers who were given kind of free reign to write whatever, and so they did, including a bunch of like references to old 30s movies that no one would get.
60s movies that kids watching
There's
it wouldn't.
no way they would understand any of the references, but
And
that's
it was also like very culturally relevant of the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what made the show great. And I think if they try to hip and youthen up, it wouldn't work. It needs to have that same exact feel.
Yeah.
as
Although
the
they would
original.
parody modern things
They would parody modern
occasionally.
things, but
like that Power Rangers one I found the other day.
that one is actually really good. That was well done.
They did the opening to Rugrats once.
Yeah.
Which is really weird, but I mean they did it.
Anyway, Super Bowl commercials.
So yeah, there were Super Bowl commercials. Those are always good. The Budweiser didn't have the Clydesdales this year, which was weird.
No, they had a bunch of LARPers.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the Bud Knight,
The Bud Knight.
Dilly Dilly.
Dilly Dilly. His bespoken cape and his ye old codpiece.
Yeah. Although I've seen a lot of those prior to the Super Bowl. They played a ton of those before YouTube they're on YouTube before things. So
and Facebook. They were
all over Facebook as well.
all over Facebook.
So moving on from the commercials, let's get into some of the trailers because this is Super Bowl time is almost like mini San Diego Comic-Con when it comes to movie trailers.
You got to give the nerds something to pay attention to.
Well, you know what? They know their audience because they know that you have the super sports fans that are going to watch for the game, and then you have the super nerd fans that are going to watch for the commercials. And that's how they double their viewership.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's just good.
There are two talking
just
points.
good marketing.
There are two talking points of the Super Bowl every year. It's the game for the people who care about the game, and then there's the commercials because all these companies just dump millions of dollars in all these ads
to make a
like,
ridiculous
It's like
spectacle.
$5 million for a 30-second ad this year. I think is what it was
I
costing
mean,
on average.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, it's insane amount of money. Anyway,
So if you want to kickstart now for our Super Bowl ad,
yeah, get in on that train early. You know, I'll have my movie done by this time next year, and we'll kickstart an ad for it. I don't know. Speaking of commercials, I guess in California there were a couple of breaks where they allowed like local ads, and I was watching Twitter the entire game just because people live tweet the game and
that's entertaining.
stuff. That's always entertaining. But I guess in California there was a full-blown 30-second Scientology ad.
Wow.
As one of the
Of course.
And the whole thing was like a bunch of computer screens, people typing into Google what is Scientology, and the whole tagline was curious, try Scientology. It was weird. I went back and tried to watch it. It was weird. Anyway, trailers. We've wasted 12 minutes getting to the trailers.
Not wasted.
That's
consumed.
That's right. Yes. So let's just go right down the list, and we'll just kind of talk a little bit about each one. First up, Solo, a Star Wars tale story.
I love Star Wars. I really do. But I was very meh with the whole trailer. Like, honestly, the only part that really remotely piqued my interest.
Lando.
Yes.
Yeah, Lando was cool.
Lando is very cool.
Also, there were some neat droids.
Yeah.
I went, oh, this is a cool droid. That's basically what I took away from it. Oh, a neat droid.
That one droid looks like Alpha 5.
A little
He
bit.
has the spaceship head.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, he's gold and has a spaceship head.
Also,
Yeah.
the land speeder that he was driving.
land
I
speeder was pretty
immediately
cool.
went, well, I want that Lego.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm gonna see it, and I am excited for it. But unlike Rogue One, which is a story that really there's something behind the story of getting the
Death Star plans.
the Death Star plans.
Even if it does overwrite the plot of Dark Forces, the greatest Star Wars game ever made.
Yeah, true. Well,
Sorry, Dash Rendar, you didn't get those.
hey, listen, Disney bought Star Wars, so none of your EU counts anymore. It's all gone. Listen, if my Shadows of the Empire doesn't count anymore, that means your
Dark Forces.
Dark Forces doesn't
Dark
count.
Forces leads up to Shadows of the Empire, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shadows of the Empire was the second Dark Forces game.
Yeah.
I
Well, no, it wasn't.
Or, yeah.
Jedi Knight
What am I
was
thinking? Shadows of the Empire. What am I thinking? There was a book. There's a series, a couple of graphic novels
It was an N64 game.
Oh, it was an N64 game as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were Dash Rendar in that too.
Okay. Well, the one I'm thinking of was Luke becomes an apprentice to...
Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, he becomes an apprentice to
A Palpatine clone.
A Palpatine clone.
Yeah.
And learns this Sith and
Yep.
becomes like a gray Jedi, basically.
Yep, Heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire. Okay, that's what I always get those two names mixed up. Anyway, Heir to the Empire is the one I like.
Shadows of the Empire does not hold up very well.
Okay, well then, there we go. Yeah, Solo looks fine. I'll go see it, but there are some characters that I just don't think I need I don't need to see how the sausage was made.
Yeah.
In this particular case,
I think, Han Solo's better with an air of mystery about him.
yeah.
Also, that dude does not look like a young Han Solo.
No, he doesn't.
Not at all.
No.
Like, you can see, like, where he kind of tries to pull, like, the young, like, Harrison Ford faces he did, but, like...
He tries. And the voice is close. Ish. I think if you close your eyes and kind of
Squint a little,
you might... You squint your ears.
He might kind of look like... he might kind of almost pass off as Han Solo.
Yeah.
Okay, then you better be doing some, like, Clint Eastwood level of squinting. I mean, I'm just saying.
But
It didn't look right. Like, it looked like new Star Trek does to old Star Trek. Like,
Yeah.
Rogue One looked right. It had the right old Star Wars look.
And that's the thing I'm kind of worried. That's the other thing I'm worried about, because this film had two different sets of directors. I mean, Lord Miller started this, and then
Ron Howard finished it.
Clint Howard's brother, Ron Howard,
which is kind of almost whiplash of a difference.
It really is.
Like, I'm really worried it's gonna have like that kind of like Suicide Squad, Justice League effect where it just doesn't fit right.
You can tell that they kind of hacked it together. I don't know if Disney would let it go out without that polish on it. You know?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I'm sure it'll be better than those.
Yeah.
I'm more talking about like the jarring effect of it.
Yeah. It'll be kind of interesting to go to the theater and go and pick out, okay, this is a Lord Miller scene. This is a
Ron Howard scene.
Clint Howard scene. Back and forth. But like we mentioned before, the standout, and he's only in the trailer for like 2 seconds, was Donald Glover, the Childish Gambino, as Lando, the Childish Lambino.
He looked right.
He did. He looked right. He had that fur coat.
Yeah, big fur coat.
Yeah. And actually, I heard something about this will tie into Last Jedi. You know, in Last Jedi, there were a couple of shots with those gold dice on a chain. That made like no sense, that have never popped up in any film before.
Actually.
Okay. Actually me. All right.
They are in A New Hope, aren't they?
Yeah.
They look a little different.
Okay.
You see them for like literally like part of a second.
Okay.
But they are hanging there.
Well, from what I understand, those are the dice that Lando uses to win the Falcon.
Han uses
in a
Han,
Sabak. In a Sabak game.
Yeah. That's
to win the Falcon.
Those are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, this movie is partially like not so much like it's also like it's a Han movie, but it's also like the origin of the Falcon kind of movie.
Do we need?
Well,
we
don't. We don't need that. We didn't need that. But
yeah,
from what I've read, the movie will like start off like you'll see like the manufacturing of the Falcon.
Okay.
And it's like a timeline of
they'll use that as a device to keep
how time moves.
Yeah. I'll see it, but I'm not. Hopes aren't high. Hopes aren't as high as Rogue One.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on.
It kind of looks like if this is the one we got, I kind of miss the idea of a Lord Miller one.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
but I don't know yet.
Yeah,
we haven't seen the movie.
We'll wait and pass judgment until after we see it. But expectations are not high. Red Sparrow.
The Black Widow movie, but it's Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Looks fine.
Marvel drug their feet so long on a Black Widow movie that somebody else decided to make it.
Make a Russian lady spy film.
Yeah,
and that's all I really have to say about it.
Yeah, I like Jennifer Lawrence.
She's fine. Yeah,
so
yeah,
it looks all right
as long as she cares about the role. If there have been movies where she just does not care about the role she's in. I'm talking about the X-Men films, and she's can be kind of not great, but yeah, as long as she cares about the role, she's good. Skyscraper. This is Die Hard, but The Rock, and he has a prosthetic leg.
His robot leg.
I don't know why they didn't call the movie Rock Hard.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Well, listen, if they were
Gross.
able to call that one movie Blockers and use a chicken or a rooster
Oh, jeez.
and in all of its promotion, they could have called this movie Rock Hard because it's just Die Hard with The Rock.
Now he's in Rampage, a
He is.
movie about monsters knocking buildings down, and he's in Skyscraper, a movie about keeping
Him trying to save a building from being knocked down.
Yeah.
But it's like a super weird sci-fi skyscraper too. There's like environments inside the building.
Yeah.
And it pulled nothing for me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine. The Rock picks good films, more or less.
Sometimes.
Jurassic World 2?
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Every
Okay.
time I see a trailer for this movie, it looks dumber, but like in a way that I can enjoy.
Yes, yeah, I agree. There is a dinosaur that is most certainly not a dinosaur in this.
Well, yeah,
it's just a monster.
It's a man-made monster.
Yeah.
They keep doing this. They did it with Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of the way they're headed with the franchise, I think, because they went like mixed up dinosaur, different parts of dinosaur. Now it's going to be like
Just a monster.
buck wild, like
Yeah.
no limits. It's going to be some kind of monster.
Well, as long as they don't try to rehash the original script for Jurassic Park 3. This isn't the one that we ended up getting.
Oh, the one with the dinosaur soldiers.
The one with the dinosaur soldiers where the dinosaurs have robotic cybernetic chips in their head that make them human intelligent. Talking robot dinosaurs, soldiers.
I mean, the raptors are almost kind of there anyway.
Yeah, old Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, blue.
Yeah. Let's see. There's Mission Impossible Fallout. I don't know why they keep making these movies, except...
And it's not a crossover with the game.
it's not a crossover with the game, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Could you imagine a Fallout movie?
Listen, the first couple of Mission Impossible movies were great. They were really good.
Well, back in like the 90s when those came out.
But...
I
I
stopped
don't know.
caring a long time ago.
I don't know anybody who does.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise keeps injuring himself on this film. He's like broken his ankle. He's done like a couple of different things. He just keeps hurting himself. Like
Maybe it's time to quit.
he's an old man. It's time for him to take a break.
I don't understand why he can't just do a movie where he just plays like
A dude?
a dude.
But he doesn't know how to. He has to be running from things.
Yeah.
Just constantly running.
Or doing a weird scream,
Yeah.
like in The Mummy?
He's
Oh, God, yeah.
He's got to be cool action, man. It's like, how about you just take a chill pill and do a movie where you're like somebody's dad?
I tell you what, one of the last great roles that he has done in the past, I want to say 10 years, was in Tropic Thunder.
Oh,
Remember when he was,
yeah.
where he was that coked out, like,
Yeah,
thought
movie
you were-
exec.
movie
I thought you
exec?
were going to say Jerry Maguire.
That's longer than 10 years.
yeah.
But he wasn't
yeah.
an action guy in that movie.
He wasn't. Although there was a lot of running. He did do some running in that. Steel Magnolia. He was good in Steel Magnolia. And that wasn't an action movie. That was a pretty serious drama.
Wasn't he also in Vanilla Sky?
He was in Vanilla Sky. That was a weird one.
My favorite Tom Cruise movie? Legend.
Not Legend of Zelda.
No, not Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Saving the Unicorns from Tim Curry.
Yeah. Okay, there were a couple other trailers for different movies. We're just going to kind of gloss over them, but I wanted to get to the Avengers for Infinity 4 or 3? 3.
3. 3.3 part 1.
3 part 1. It was only 30 seconds long. Nothing happened in it.
There was a lot of angry running.
There's a lot of angry running. Cap has a new shield that looks kind of like just a spike kind of
Thing. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the movie. Don't get me wrong, but this trailer did nothing for me.
No. It may have made me the opposite of excited. I'm still excited for the movie, but the trailer made me feel
Nothing.
like, yeah, just go away.
Yeah, they could have used this to tease anything, but instead it was just people looking at the camera and running.
We still got like 3 months before it comes out.
Yeah. And that's cool.
It caused anti-excitement.
Yeah.
To remind you, yes, this is still one of those movies.
Beyond the Super Bowl trailers themselves, a couple of other superhero-based, comic-based movies
Came out,
that
like,
were
today and yesterday.
released because they didn't want to spend $5 million for a 30-second ad. They just released them online. And well, one of them they just flat couldn't release on television. And I'm talking about Deadpool 2. The first look of Cable.
Man.
It continues in the tradition of the Deadpool movies having excellent super meta trailers.
Their trailers almost don't have any of the movie in them,
And
which
that's
is
great.
fine. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with Deadpool just talking to the camera.
Yeah.
The whole thing about Cable and his CGI arm not being done yet. You see Josh Brolin with the green screen sleeve on his arm, and then he cuts to Deadpool playing with his action figures. Oh God, it's great.
Reach for the sky.
It's super good. But then they do show some quick clips from the movie, and it looks like Domino is getting a pretty prominent role in the film, which is excellent.
I love Domino. I think Domino's a cool character.
I think it's a really cool character. Interesting power. The whole luck field that she generates around herself that she uses to
not miss
ricochet bullets, basically. There was a quick shot of a bunch of other mutants on like the back of a helicarrier along with Cable and Deadpool. The theory is it's going to be a version of X-Force because they've been tossing around the idea of an X-Force film for years.
Yeah.
And I can see them trying to spin because Deadpool was so... One, Deadpool is separate from all the other X-Men movies. It's in its own, almost like its own separate universe. And two, it was so successful. I can see them try to, spin that off into another film. And X-Force would actually be a pretty good fit.
Oh yeah, X-Force would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they get what's her face to be X-23 X-Force.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Let's see. The other superhero comic film,
if you can call it that,
is Venom. There's nothing to it except for Tom Hardy yelling
and like grimdark talking. I don't know how they're going to pull off this film without being able to mention Spider-Man in any way, shape, or form.
It is stupid. It's asinine. That's what it is. Sony is being real dumb.
Yeah,
They got in bed with Marvel and made a great Spider-Man film.
One of the best Marvel films, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot and make a movie about
Stinky Venom movie.
Yeah, make a movie about Venom, who does not have a story without Spider-Man.
He can't have a story without Spider-Man. He can't have an origin.
Yes, exactly.
A successful origin without Spider-Man. Venom's had his own books for a while.
Oh, I know.
I
know.
From what I understand, this movie is going to be pulling heavily from the '90s series Lethal Protector, which was actually a pretty good series. It was his first miniseries.
I have
where he was transitioned from a villain to anti-hero.
I think I have like a few of those issues.
I do too, and it was pretty good. But I just don't know how much of an impact the character can have when you're not tying the origins to Spider-Man.
Or not having him tied into that universe at all.
Yeah, that too. I mean, again, I'll go see it because I'm part of the problem. Listen, I'll go. I will. I am.
You're why there's 2 Ninja Turtles movies that stink.
Hey, that second one was way better.
I didn't watch it.
Yes, you did.
I didn't. The second one?
Yes, you did. We went and saw it together.
No. I remember.
I saw the first. We saw the first one.
I remember talking to you about the second one.
Yeah, I didn't see this. I've never seen the second one.
I thought you and me saw it together.
Yeah.
Who did I watch it with? Because I wasn't alone.
Who did I see that movie with? Anyway, there's one more thing I forgot to write on the board.
Let's do it.
That comic book resource article about, is it time for an R-rated Star Wars movie?
No, the answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no.
Hey, how do you feel about if there was an R-rated Star Wars?
It's one thing if they're going to make like an M-rated game, but if you're going to make like... Because I know they got the guys who write Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's where this article came from.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's a whole third separate trilogy.
Huh.
It's away from the Skywalker. It's away from the other trilogy that they announced with the one director. I can't remember his name now.
Rian Johnson.
Yes, him. It's a whole separate trilogy of films. And the article I read never said anything about it being R-rated.
Yeah, this was a comic book resources article of somebody's opinion on that they should do an R-rated Star Wars.
Well, first off, consider the source.
I'm like, are they hiring 14-year-olds over there to write for him?
Yeah, it's
because
not
this is
good.
very much a 14-year-old's opinion on.
Yeah.
If it's got blood and boobs in it, it'll obviously be much better than the other Star Wars.
Yeah. See, here's my opinion on the whole thing. This has got to be our last topic for the show because we're getting pretty close on time. Star Wars is for everyone. Star Wars is for everyone. And if you boil it down, I know people our age and older have grown up with Star Wars, and it's a natural kind of inclination that you want to see your favorite things kind of age up with you. But you can't forget that in essence, when you boil Star Wars down to its basest elements, it's for kids. Mm-hmm. It's a family. it's for kids and adults alike. And by creating an R-rated and taking Star Wars in an R-rated direction, you alienate an entire
audience of kids.
The primary audience of kids.
It's almost mean.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, a new Star Wars, but you can't see this one. This one's not for you.
It's like you're on a playground and you see some kids playing with some action figures, and then adults walk up, say, "I'm taking this and I'm going to go home."
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It's unnecessary because adding mature, air quotes, mature content doesn't make something better. It's not going to add anything to Star Wars if somebody says the F word.
And who's to say that you can't have something mature and it absolutely has to have cusses and boobs in it?
Yeah.
Like
Rogue One told a very mature story.
That was exactly where I was heading with that. Rogue One, I don't think there was, with the exception of the funny robot, there was almost no levity in that film at all. That was it was
a war movie.
Mature war.
Yeah, when I walked out of Rogue One, I'm like, that felt like a Star Wars movie for adults.
Yeah, and it didn't have any cursing or any suggestive things in it.
Or like graphic violence.
Star Wars doesn't need it because Star Wars is better than that.
Yeah.
It is so ingrained in our pop culture to separate it out like that is...
Yeah, and this is a problem that's not just in Star Wars. It's a problem in just about all forms of geek media because we're a little bit guilty of this. It's become more acceptable for adults who grew up with these kind of geeky things to kind of continue to hang on to these kind of geeky things. And there's a certain subsection of people that feel that it's only for them, kind of hang on to it. Yeah. It's the same as, well, like we were talking earlier, Superman comics.
Yeah.
Superman comics specifically. Over the years, there have been time and time again, writers who will come on and try to gritty up Superman and try to make superhero comics, for adults and not for kids. And that's wrong because, you're taking something that's for everyone. Mm-hmm. A book about a guy flying around in a blue set of underoos, and you say, no, this is gritty and only for me, and you kids can't have this.
Plus, gritty is what Batman is for.
Yeah. and even still, you don't need...
He's a guy running around in black underoos.
Zack Snyder films.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you gritty up something that is supposed to be for children. For everybody. I say children, but I mean for everybody.
A wide general audience that everybody of all ages can enjoy.
Yeah.
Just because something is accessible to everyone doesn't mean it can't be good or can't
tell a compelling story.
Yeah.
There are a million great G-rated movies. There are a bunch of really crummy R-rated movies. Being geared towards a older audience doesn't necessarily automatically make it
higher quality.
Mm-hmm. And that was the thing I was really worried about when the first Deadpool movie came out and it was super successful and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, great. Now they're just going to make a bunch of R-rated superhero movies because that's what they think people want.
And this article that was written on Comic Book Resources, I have a feeling, in at least one way, was influenced by that thought process.
I mean, it worked for Deadpool and it worked for Logan.
I don't want to see Luke Skywalker curse.
Yeah, there's no swearing in Star Wars, is there?
No.
Really?
No. Scruffy looking Nerf herder. That's probably
the closest
thing they get, and that's nothing. That's a band.
They can use space curses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I would hate to think that those words exist within that
Yeah.
universe.
Son of a bantha.
Yeah.
Bantha Voodoo.
So we can't keep talking about this, but
Yeah.
I think we made our point pretty clear on whether Star Wars should go in
Yeah.
an R-rated direction.
I just
the
wanted
answer
to talk
is
about
no.
it because I had such a visceral reaction to it.
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
saw
No,
it.
when I read that article too, it kind of got my blood boiling. It really grind my gears. Really grind my gears. So anyway, let's go ahead and wrap things up. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com, and I promise it'll work by the end of this week.
You can also find us on most forms of social media: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, at Nerd Overload Now.
You can send us an email, your questions, comments, Star Wars theories, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
To staff at nerdoverload.com. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nerd Overload TV.
That's right. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, and I'm working on Spotify. I've submitted it. I'm waiting to hear back from them, so hopefully we'll be on there soon as well.
Cool.
So, again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Peace out.
This show was sponsored in part by MB Subculture Comics and Costumes.